Hello and welcome back to the channel. For those that don't know me, my name's Marano and I'm a wildlife photographer from Norfolk in the UK. Now the reason I'm filming this video indoors pertains to the fact that I'm a wildlife photographer in the UK. We're in June, mid-June now, and I think I've seen the sun 4 times this year. We've got rain forecast for most of this week, so rather than risk all this new gear, I thought I'd take this one indoors. So I recently reached out to K&F, who had sent me out a variable ND filter recently, and I was looking through their product catalogue and noticed that they made a gimbal head and thought, that's under £100. So I really wanted to see how good it was for that price. I mean, you can spend 500, 600, 700 or even more on gimbal heads for wildlife photography. On this channel, I guess I'm kind of famed for not using expensive gear. So in the vein of that, I really wanted to try out something that the majority of people could afford, and also people that are starting off in wildlife photography. I mean, I don't want to tell people how to spend their money, but spending say £500 on your first gimbal head, if you've got the money, that's fine. But for the majority of people, I think this sort of price is pretty affordable. So anyway, with the build quality, it is CNC aluminium alloy. It's also got an anti-oxide coating, and the product weighs 1,265 grams, so about 1.2 kilos. And so far, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed using it for the few days that I've had it. I've never actually owned a gimbal head before, and I kind of wish I had, because only recently I was photographing fulmars at Old Hunstanton, and I was using my K3 Komodo head with the iFootage TC3B tripod, and there were fulmars up on the cliffs in front of me. What I had to do with a video head is tighten it down, because with video head it would just fall. So I had to tighten it down, and the issue is that with every single tripod head that I've used, whether that be ball heads or video heads, that's always an issue. But with a gimbal head, as long as it's balanced correctly, wherever you point it is where it stays. So that's really, really useful in wildlife photography. Now, I wouldn't use a gimbal head all the time. For me personally, in a lot of hides, they've got sort of tripod screws that you can mount your gimbal head to. That's quite useful because you're in a static location for a long time. You don't really want to be holding your camera. If, for example, I'm going to photograph foxes locally with a micro four thirds camera, particularly like early in the morning or late at night, I may need to use a slow shutter speed, and having it on a gimbal head is going to mean that the camera is as stable as I can reasonably expect, and as I'm going to be in a static location, it'll work really well. Let's just say you've gone to a bird reserve and you've got the birds flying overhead. You can effectively point with my particular camera, you can go all the way up and you've still got that full range of movement. If I just twist this on my lens, I can quickly change to portrait, back to landscape. So there's no real disadvantage of a gimbal head. So yeah, just using this, I have to try and find something wrong with it. I mean, a gimbal head for less than £100, there's got to be something wrong with it. And if I'm honest, there is I think that's movement from the tripod itself. there's hardly any give or any play in it. The only thing I will say is because I'm using a fairly light camera and lens combination, there's a little bit of give, there's a small amount of resistance when you're using the gimbal. Now naturally, if you had a much heavier setup, like I said, this supports up to 20 kilograms, so my camera and lens weighing less than 2 kilograms is not troubling this gimbal whatsoever. So it makes it a little bit stiff. When I say stiff, that's one finger. But for my purposes, that's actually really nice because that little amount of resistance, now I've got it fully loosened up, so it's, you know, you watch video reviews of more expensive gimbals and a lot of the time they're completely free flowing. And like I said, naturally my camera and lens is a lot lighter, but I quite like the fact that it's not completely, there's a nice amount of resistance, almost perfect. So if I was even out filming, I've got nice smooth feedback. Yeah, that's, looking for a negative, it's actually a bit of a positive. So yeah, for under £100, I absolutely cannot grumble. It comes with the Arca Swiss plate for your tripod foot in case your particular lens doesn't have an Arca Swiss. Everything about it, the knobs feel nice. The knobs feel nice. They're solid. What's not to like? I'm struggling to find something I don't like. The only criticism could be that if you're facing a subject and you lock the tripod down, you will slightly deviate from the subject by millimeters. That's an issue I've had with every single tripod head that I've ever had, and it becomes kind of null and void because as long as the camera's balanced correctly, it's not going to move anyway. So yeah, for those that haven't owned a gimbal head before, like myself, this is absolutely perfect. The value for money is absolutely off the charts at under £100. That's just ridiculous. Using these quality materials, I genuinely, I can't not recommend this product. The only slight issue with gimbal heads though, as I've got a zoom lens, if I zoom back in, we've slightly altered the centre of gravity, so you can see now the gravity wants to take the head down. All I have to do is just adjust, bring this forward a bit, and that's good enough. It's still wanting to sink slightly down, but as I'm going to be shooting 9 times out of 10 at the long end, that's not really an issue, and I could 100% live with that. That's not a problem with this particular gimbal, that all zoom lenses are going to vary with their balancing, unless of course you've got a zoom lens with internal focusing, in which case you won't have to worry about that. For example, like a Sony 200-600mm. It's only for these lenses that extend, but that's an issue you're going to have on every tripod, and it can be resolved by simply adjusting and rebalancing the camera. I would give this gimbal a solid 9 out of 10. It's well made, incredibly well packaged, absolutely amazing value for money, and it's something that I'm definitely going to be using going forwards, and something that I can wholeheartedly recommend. Like I said, on this channel, I don't go round recommending expensive gear because I just wouldn't use it myself. But to sweeten the cherry even more, you can get 10% off of this particular gimbal by using the code JOE, that's J-O-E, at the checkout. And in the UK, that takes this gimbal head down to just under £90, which is insane value for money. So yeah, if you found this video useful, or if you've got any questions, absolutely leave them down in the comment section. I will definitely get back to you. If I don't know the answer, I'll harass K&F and get the answers for you. And yeah, if you found the video enjoyable or useful in any way, please hit it with a thumbs up. It really does help small channels prosper and help them to grow and move forwards. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're subscribed, please consider turning on notifications, because if you haven't got notifications turned on, you won't be notified every time I put out a new video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.